All right, it's time to do our first season 3 tier list, and I gotta say, guys, this is probably gonna be the hardest tier list for me to make because the game is just so damn balanced right now. It is crazy. So just keep in mind before you guys grab your pitchforks and start complaining over my insane takes here. This tier list is very, very condensed. That's why I put like, you know, A+ and B+ and stuff like that. I still wanted to put like all the letters so it's not like a total cop-out, so I do think some characters are stronger than others. Pro players are kind of just trying to figure out which character is going to give me the best edge, but right now, player skill is more important than ever. Even the best characters, even the characters that I'm going to say are top 5, only have a slight edge. And even those characters, I think every character has some type of weakness. We've been watching every single tournament since Season 3 has started. We've been watching a bunch of World Warriors and, of course, all the CBT majors and EWC qualifiers. Even in top 32, man, the character variety we're getting is like nothing before, man. This is one of the most balanced modern fighting games ever. It's actually wild. In CEO, in top 32, we had 18 different characters in top 32. And just recently with Blink Respawn that just happened over the weekend, in top 32, we had 21 different characters. Think about that. How insane that is. And in the World Warriors, pretty much every single character in the entire roster has made it to top 8, and almost every character has gotten a dub. Like, it's actually wild. Once again, we're still gonna do a tier list, but just know it's very, very close. So let's start. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I guess we always kind of just jump around, but I guess I'll start from the top and I'll just add one character to each slot or something as we figure this out. Okay, there are 2 characters that I feel like are right at the top here, but I'm gonna start with the first one. So I'm gonna throw Akuma in here. I think Akuma is an easy one. I think a lot of people can agree with this, that even though he got some big nerfs, I felt, especially when we went through the notes, I felt like he was one of the big losers. But the problem is, Akuma was so high at the top anyways. This character has so many tools anyways. Honestly, the biggest thing about Akuma is his corner game. His corner game remains untouched pretty much. He lost like a save jump from his sweep, but it's still one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful corner game in the game. Between the plus charge fireballs, the OD fireballs, monster damage from a shimmy, dash forward, back walk shimmy, dry rush shimmy, you name it. When this character gets you in the corner, you are in so much trouble. You are one wrong guess away from death. They nerfed a lot of the scaling, his air fireball, his dive kick. They went after his mid-screen Oki a little bit. Akuma players are adjusting by doing medium Tatsu. They're giving up some damage, but this character is still pushy to the corner. And Akuma just has very small weaknesses. He's generally good in almost every single matchup against every single character. Akuma, as much as, you know, he's unstable because his biggest obvious weakness is that he's got the least amount of health in the game. When you pick him as a tournament character, you can just play Akuma. You don't have to have like a side character. Akuma's kit is just so well-rounded, man. You have like super aggressive players like Shuto or NL, or more reserved players like Kawano, which we haven't seen Kawano in a while, and more well-rounded like Bonchan and Daigo playing Akuma. You can play this character in like any way, dude, and you're getting results with him. The biggest factor I'm looking at now, since Capcom has really tuned every single character to this point, a lot of top tiers, the biggest factor I'm looking at now is corner game. I think the corner game is still big, especially since Capcom didn't completely remove throw loops. So Akuma is definitely up there at the top. Okay, so for A+, these would be characters that I think are like in top 10. I'm gonna throw JP up here. So there's definitely a lot of debate on JP right now. There's a lot of people that are putting JP like in the top 5, like up in S, and I can see that. A lot of Japan puts JP as really, really strong right now. So this is completely held down by Japan getting destroyed by Kakeru. He's like rank 1 legend. He just won Capcom Cup. JP is a character that he does have some troublesome matchups against a lot of the rushdown characters, but Kakeru still went all the way just using JP. His anti-air is back. When the patch notes came out for JP, Capcom just straight up said, he's in a good spot. We don't need to change anything. They don't want to rock the boat. They go after the anti-air again, he'll go way down. And if they buff him at all, then he'll be right at the top. JP is a very delicate character. It took Capcom a long time to figure out how to tune him. They have him in a good spot where he's a really strong character, but he requires a lot of dedication because there's a lot of setups you need to learn with him. And that's why we only have a very small handful of JP players like Kakeru, DCQ, and of course Juicy Joe. The reason I don't have him in top 5 is just because he has some matchups that I wouldn't say are favorable against him. Especially with like Kimberly moving up, I think Kimberly gives him problems. I think Cammy can still close the gap on him. Bison, for example, it's not something where he has like massive amount of favorable matchups. Okay, for A, man, I'm gonna throw Chun-Li here. I really want to put Chun-Li higher. I do. I think she's like the secret top tier this season, but there's just no Chun-Li players, man. There's just none. It's just like Moke holding the fort right now. You know, they buffed her anti-airs, her Tensho kicks. That was like a big thing for her, and they gave her some new combos that raised her damage because they added a lot of scaling with her in the past. And Chun-Li's always been a strong character. And yes, I know she doesn't have real, true throw loops, but her corner game is still very strong. She's a really good, well-rounded character. She's just tough to play, so it's hard to see that full potential. And even though Moke is doing really well with her very recently, he's still not utilizing all of the buffs that Capcom gave her, where she has a lot of things that she can punish because they completely changed her lightning legs. Some of the best 5-frame punishes in the game. There are a lot of things that players are still getting away with on Chun-Li that Chun-Li can definitely take advantage of, but it's going to take some time. It's a lot of matchup knowledge. They've just fine-tuned some of her big weaknesses because they really went after her anti-air game. Now she's in a better spot, and I hope to put her up higher. For sure. I just wish we had more Chun-Li players, man. Goichi's still doing good with, I say basic Chun-Li, but he's not, once again, utilizing the season 3 stuff. But Goichi is another player that's like really showing you how powerful Chun-Li is when you're really good. Speaking of well-rounded characters, I'm going to throw Juri here in B+. So once again, guys, I'm going to remind you guys again that these characters are all very close. Everyone is close. But for well-rounded, I feel like Juri is more rough around the edges than even Chun-Li. Just because of the fact of her ground fireball just gives her some weird situations where a lot of characters can get around it, you know, like Blanka ball, knee press, you know, things like that. Or when she goes against other Shotos, you know, her fireball does give her some problems. Her throw loop game is a little weaker just because she has the backdash, the shimmy. She still has amazing buttons. She's still well-rounded. She just has to take a little bit more risk. Like, I notice a lot of Juri players still have to do like a lot of reversals and go for a lot of dive kicks, you know, nephew. And Juri hasn't been getting too many buffs. You know, Capcom already felt that she was in a good spot right when she came out. So as characters are kind of moving up and down, Juri's kind of just staying the same, you know. Her level 2 can be really good when the opponent's in burnout, but in terms of all the other like install level 2s, it's kind of, it doesn't have the oomph, you know, it's a little bit more situational than the other strong level 2s in the games. Juri, I think I'm just going to keep her in B+, and she already was kind of in the spot. Constantly moving down the list, let's throw Dhalsim in here. Dhalsim I want to put higher too, because there are a lot of players that feel like Dhalsim is being slept on, and this character has been getting buffs every single patch, and Capcom's being really careful about it because Dhalsim's traditionally been strong in a lot of games, and he doesn't use the drive system as well as the other characters, but his zoning and the big thing this patch is his anti-air game has gotten much stronger. Dhalsim's getting really scary to jump in on, and he's dishing out a lot of mid-screen damage, and his level 1 is really versatile. You're noticing that Dhalsim's like doing a lot of damage now. Off of his lights, there's better conversions. His corner game is pretty good now with the mini Guiles. Like, obviously this character can get rushed down pretty hard, you know. He does have some reversal issues, and that's why I have him in B. I think a really high skilled like Dhalsim player like Mr. Crimson, Louis, man, there's like really good Dhalsim players out there. Torimeshi did really well in Topanga, and Fudo's even trying to pick him up as a side character as well. There are a lot of players that believe in Dhalsim. He just has to work a little harder. He's got to work a lot harder, actually. I think where Dhalsim started off, where he kind of just didn't feel like he fit in the game, you know? Capcom is figuring out ways to buff him while keeping him under control. Before, we used to joke around that every time Dhalsim popped up on stream, there was going to be a new speedrun world record of him getting mauled and double perfected. But now, we're seeing matches where, like, there are Dhalsim players that are so good that it looks hopeless fighting against him. And Dhalsim uniquely does pretty well against certain top tier characters like JP, for example, or maybe even Guile. Against other zoners, Dhalsim's all right. Even though I have him B, I still think that's good. Let's go to the very bottom, but keep in mind, guys, it's C+. Just letting you guys know, it sounds bad because it's at the bottom, but it's still C+. I'm going to throw Marisa in here. So Marisa, once again, I was dooming on Marisa after I saw the patch notes, and Marisa has been stepping up. Like, I was definitely wrong on how good her buffs were, and there's a lot of players that are starting to believe in her again. And we had Infectious recent dub at World Warrior UK, which was awesome. He was is using Majin Marisa. Even Itazan is picking up Marisa. I saw Big Bird practicing with Marisa. There are a lot of players that are like starting to believe in her again. The big thing is that her level 1 is now reversal, which is great. The cool thing about her level 1 that I underestimated is that when she uses it as a reversal, it does a lot of damage. It's like one of the strongest damaging reversals you get. She hits you hard, but I feel like the character still really relies on that level 3 to push him to the corner and close the round. Her level 2, I just don't feel like they buffed it enough. It was just, they tried making it go further, but they need to make that level 2 more unique for her. They're still showing restraint on her being like the only character in the game that can't do drive rush crouching light punch into crouching light punch. It's ridiculous, man. She needs it. And then of course the obvious, her anti-air game still needs to be improved. Because of these large weaknesses of her, I'm still gonna put her at the very bottom. The Phalanx 2, Capcom's not changing it, where in high level and pro play, Phalanx is just really dangerous. It's really easy to perfect parry it amongst pros, and that can just give her a lot of problems. Like I said, the buffs they're doing are great, but there's still just much more Capcom could do. All right, cool. We're start back at the top again. So once again, guys, I'm looking at characters with really good corner games, and there are 2 characters that I think are at the top. There's like a top 2 for me. So I think this one's gonna be obvious who I'm gonna put up here, guys. Let's throw Mai up there. Mai is still just crazy, dude. So Mai's corner game and Akuma, they're like the 2 strongest corner games in Street Fighter 6. Her throw loop is absolutely insane. Throw, dash forward, back walk, and if you get shimmy, she gets her level 1 and you're just in so much trouble. And then the fan pressure in the corner too. There are still a lot of players trying to play Mai, but I feel like Lashar is really the player that's showing how crazy she is still. Capcom did some good nerfs to her, like they made her level 1 more risky, and they made her mid-screen fan pressure a little weaker because of the smaller proximity guard. You can back walk and backdash out of it easier, but her buttons are still really strong. Players like Lashar are not even really abusing that. He's just using her buttons. And since her corner carry is still so incredible, once she gets you in the corner, it's still like playing season 2 Mai all over again. It's like nothing has changed. If you just utilize her strengths, it's still really intact, just like Akuma's corner game is intact. So I feel like these characters have a very small edge over the other really good characters, making it the top 2 for me. But it's not, like I said, mind-boggling advantage where everyone's playing Mai and she'll carry you. Right now, there are a lot of Mai players, but it's Lashar that's a cut above every other Mai player. Who else want to put an A+? I'm gonna throw Cammy up here still. I think Cammy is still intact. Capcom has been continuing to give her nerfs, but with the most recent patch, what they did with the other top tiers, and they tried going after her mid-screen corner carry, it's still ridiculous. Like, Cammy's mid-screen, like she hits you with anything, dude, and it feels like you're already in the corner. And since that corner game is still intact, Cammy is just always going to be fundamentally really strong unless they really go after her like they did in Street Fighter 5, where they like gutted her mid-screen corner carry by making her choose different spiral arrows. But they haven't gone that far yet. They did kind of go after some of her buttons like her crouching medium punch, but that's a universal nerf. Almost everyone's crouching medium punch got nerfed in that way. Her buttons are still absolutely incredible. I think Cammy's still in a good spot where she's just really fundamentally strong. Even though they did nerf her target combo mid-screen conversion with her spiral arrow, they did give her a new combo with the spinning back fist, and I think she got some pretty cool conversions with it. There's some stuff that I'm seeing Cammy players do that she's getting good OK from it, and that's like a slight buff and give her a little bit more mix-up. She's got some really good options still. Her supers are still incredible. Her level 1 and level 3 are just still incredible supers. Wake up dive kick still. Yeah, she still has a lot. Okay, let's move down to A. I'm gonna put Zangief here. Zangief's another character where I'm like, man, I want to keep this character in top 10, but I'm like really just checking out the tournaments, and there's a lot of Zangief players that are kind of like, I'm noticing they're not doing as well as they did in season 2. It was at the point, man, where we're having like 3 Zangief players in top 9 at EVO Japan, but I'm starting to see with the hurt box changes they did to Zangief seem to be more significant than I thought. I mean, literally every single thing has been extended hurt box wise. Everything is easier to hit on Zangief, where he can't get away with it as mindlessly pressing buttons like he could before, where he's just beating you with standing medium punch Itazan styles. And like I said, Itazan's already picking up a secondary to complement Zangief, and I'm watching like Kobayan as well, Bellado. Still a lot of really great Zangief players out there, but I'm just noticing they're not dominating recently, where Zangief was obviously very strong in season 2. So I'm still gonna put him in A. I'm just gonna safely put him in A right now until we get more info before Evo. He still has super strong things, like his forward heavy punch, man, is still intact. His buttons still do incredible chip. He still has that crazy comeback factor. You can get some good guesses, good jump ins, and just end the round really quickly. But like I said, that nerf that Capcom did with his hurt box, it was really hard to tell how significant it was because it's like everything has like an added hurt box to it. So I'm gonna drop him down because of that until we get more info on it. Next up, E+. I'm gonna throw Terry here, actually. I'll put Terry by Juri. Terry, man, his buffs are awesome. Like his standing heavy punch plus frames. We're starting to actually see Terry players now. Oil King switched to Terry, which is cool. We even saw Terry show up in grand finals with Lashar, which is sick. Riddles. There's some Terry players popping up, man. I think Terry's good. He just has still some small rough spots. I think the biggest thing holding back Terry for me, guys, is I think his overhead sucks. I think it's too slow. It's way too slow. 22 frames. I rarely see it hit, and I see Terry players try so hard to use it. And even with his quick burn, I think that's still 22. Hurts his pressure a little bit when you're not too scared of his overhead. And then his heavy round wave, his heavy fireball, still being pretty easy to perfect parry. He doesn't get too much mix. He's trying to overwhelm you with mental stack to get away with that pressure. He's dishing out more damage now. I wish they would still buff his standing medium kick counter hit into level 1, working at all ranges. That would help him out a lot too. And I think since he doesn't have that traditional one-hit confirmed standing heavy punch like most of the well-rounded Shotos do, I think that hurts him a little bit too, where he has to rely on the medium punch instead. So like I said, I think Terry's still really good. I have him in B+, but there are stronger, well-rounded characters that have more oppressive things than Terry does. And like I said, I think if they buff his overhead speed, I think that's enough to shoot him up for sure. I think Terry's strong, and I can see myself moving him up throughout the season. He's in a much better spot now. Capcom, don't forget about that target combo, bro. What's going on with that Fatal Fury target combo? Capcom's not even buffing it. What's going on? My tier list is done. Espa's done. Everything's done, bro. No, oh, man. 2 Terrys won, man. 2 World Warriors in 1 week. I can't catch a break. We need to do a reshoot. I mean, with my luck, Terry's gonna win Evo at this point, man. Next up, I'm gonna put, beside Dhalsim, I'm gonna put Manon up here. She didn't get very many buffs, but she's showing up again, dude. She's always like showing up in top 8 in majors. Tachikawa now just dropped Ed and is just using classic Manon. We still have really good Manon players like Idom, Random, Akutagawa. Yeah, Akutagawa. I think because her normals are still so strong and she could just burst you down. Her damage output, if she gets those early metal levels, can just burst you down so hard. She's just still a really scary character. As much as everyone like usually places her really low, Manon is scary. You got some good reads with her, man. You can maul people with her. It's just what's holding her back is she still has some just really bad matchups against a lot of zoner characters, you know? She goes against like JP or Guile or something, you know. She always has to deal with fireballs. Capcom just doesn't want to give her good options against fireballs. You're really just using her strongest tools and playing her in a very simple way and making good reads and just doing giant burst damage with her. And her drive rush is like one of the slowest in the game. They did nerf her touching medium punch, but like once again, that's a universal nerf and it's still very strong. It's just if she whiffs it. They nerfed her burnout pressure. That was a little silly. If you're in burnout, you're still in trouble against her. Metal level 5 Manon is really scary. And like I said, the buff they did to her level 3, making it scale off the metal levels is really nice for her. She's just like a character that can just snowball out of control and just do like giant burst damage to you, and that can help her overcome the much stronger characters where she can just command grab you and kill you in 2 hits, you know. She just has to take more risk, but I can't put her too high just because she hasn't got really big buffs this season. Another C+ character. I think Honda's another easy one to put down here. Honda again, they keep giving him new combos, man. It's only a matter of time. And Honda is still randoming out some poor pro players that are not ready for the Honda in pool play. Still one of the scariest characters to run into in pools. As other characters are kind of moving up, Honda's just kind of, it's kind of like Marisa, you know? His buffs weren't as good as Marisa's buffs. He's dishing out some big damage. He just still has a lot of bad matchups, like a lot. I think his butt slam is kind of underestimated. Like I see pro players struggle so hard to perfect parry it. Against a lot of the characters up here, like Honda just gets outspaced like crazy. Like his medium buttons are so slow. He relies so much on that level 3, dude. His command grab gives him no Oki, so you're almost like helping the opponent if your command grab doesn't kill them. No throw loops, just a lot of bad matchups. Like Honda is getting better. I like the way they're designing the character and making him more sumo, but he's still gotta go somewhere, and I still have him at the bottom of the tower at C+. Sorry, Honda bros. Okay, moving back up to the top again. There's gonna be a little bit of recency bias here, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna toss Ed up here. I've been holding back putting Ed at the very top, but dude, enough is enough, bro. If I see his level 2 one more time being used twice in one round, I'm gonna lose it, man. This character has gone so many nerfs recently, like so many. They nerfed his corner game, they nerfed his back kill switch, they try to go after the scaling on his level 2 on the meter game. This character is just so unique that in the hands of an amazing player like Momochi or Fudo and sometimes Lashar, this character is like unstoppable. He's just the king of nooch. There are times where you play against Ed where you feel like you can't even move. This character is hitting you half screen away. His mid-screen conversions are so good. He gets Oki on like every time he hits you, you know, like he's in your face dealing with the Oki. Drive rush jab is really good. And then his level 2 is just so easy to land. Well, the combo itself is really hard, but getting to OD Blitz is just even off lights. OD Blitz, you're in the corner off a safe jump that does like, you know, 30-40% damage depending on what he opened you up with, sometimes more. And then he has another level 2 on deck. He still has one of the most powerful moves in the game, which is Charge Snatcher. His skill ceiling is crazy. I feel like it's time to just finally just put Ed in S, man. I put him behind like Mai and Akuma because, like I said, his corner game, even though it's good, it's not as strong as these characters where, like, you know, they have like unlimited options. But Ed's neutral game is just on another level. He's just the king of nooch. The king. Who should I throw an A+? Okay, let's put PU up here. Ryu is definitely risen to the top. You finally did it, Capcom. You've buffed this character with 10 pages of patch notes. I mean, I don't really need to explain why Ryu is an A+, but bro, they literally buffed every single thing Ryu has. Every single button, every single special, every single super, everything. Even the level 3 finally got buffed. If Capcom wants to buff Ryu anymore, I don't even know what they can do. I really don't. We were expecting the Ryu army to come, but I feel like a lot of the other Shoto players as much as everyone's saying like Ryu is just, you know, top 5 and all that, they're like refusing to play him. They're like looking for alternatives, like even like Akuma or something. It's kind of funny, but yeah, Ryu is really strong. We have some really good Ryu players out there. Ending Walker, Kusanagi, Blaz, Crime. Ryu's being used in many different ways, like aggressive, defensive. If you're really good with the system mechanics with Ryu, this character is so scary. The Hashogeki, man, pressure, it's just so ridiculous. Everyone's complaining about donkey kicks right now, but dude, the Hashogeki pressure, it's crazy, dude. You'll have like 2 bars of drive meter and you think you're okay, and then all of a sudden crouching fears, you're in burnout, then, you know, then you get hit by the stun and then you just lose all your health and you're dead, man. This character's throwing out heavy punches. If it just even comes close to your face, turns green and you lose like half your health, man. Then the Denjin stock buffs. I still think Akuma has an edge over Ryu, even though Ryu's corner game is actually really scary, man. This character's like standing right next to you. Akuma just has a little bit more options than Ryu, where he doesn't have to rely on the system mechanics as much because of the air fireball, demon flip, dive kick and stuff, you know. You still have to be really good with perfect parry to fully utilize this character. But yeah, Ryu's obviously at the top. Come on, Capcom finally did it. A here. I really want to put this character up higher, and I finally get the opportunity to do so. I'm gonna throw Kimberly up in A. That's right, Kimberly, I'm putting her above the mid tier. I think Capcom has buffed her enough now. I think Kimberly's in a really good spot, man. And she was another character that I wanted to put like as a secret top tier for season 3, and even at the end of season 2, man. Yeah, she doesn't have a reversal, but that double can buff with her is so good, man. It makes it so that when Kimberly gets you in the corner, and she will eventually, it covers so many of her options. Even if you do a reversal, even if you do a dry reversal, you're still stuck in the corner with her. They lowered some of their scaling, so when she hits you with the Izuna drop, is doing more damage. They buffed the level 1. She doesn't have to rely on that level 3 buff as much as before. Her run cancel pressure is really scary, and it's layered, and it's real now. It's actually real. You have to perfect parry the arc step, but she can just do empty run and throw you. If she does the arc step, she's just draining your meter. Capcom really tried buffing her neutral, right, with the Vagabond edge and the run cancel stuff. Kimberly has a lot of sauce now, where where she was a character that started off with using she had to use a lot of gimmicks, but now she has really solid tools in mid-screen to get you in the corner. You can say her buttons are stubby, like her medium kick or her heavy punch, but this character's walk speed is so insane that really good Kimberly players with really good neutral, like Psycho or Shine, they're gonna outplay you with her movement speed and with punish you very easily. It's very scary to press buttons on Kimberly. And she was kind of a dark horse before because she had some good matchup against some top tier characters like JP, for example. She can close the gap and get around a lot of zoners like Guile. Like where she started, she's definitely climbing back. So for B+, who am I gonna put beside Terry? I'm gonna throw Luke here. Oh no, Luke's the weakest shuttle confirmed. Bro, Luke. It still boggles my mind where this character started, where we saw like 7 Lukes in top 8. Where he was like the most picked character in the game besides Ken. Capcom has been buffing him, but honestly, what's holding this character back is his damage. His damage output is still too low. Capcom refuses to revert the scaling on his crouching medium punch and his crouching heavy punch. Like every single button Luke uses in his B&B has scaling nerfs to the point where he's doing nothing. Crouching medium kick, drive rush cancel, crouching medium punch, crouching heavy punch, you're already like maxed out on scaling by that point. This character, I know it's a meme, you know, with Noah being put into burnout, but because this character is so meter hungry, the damage is still not worth the squeeze. They gave him a little bit more damage in the corner with the light uppercut, but come on, just like a light uppercut finisher, it's enough. And unless he got a safe jump from it, he still has good normals, good buttons. They're trying to make his medium punch to help him with his not using drive rush cancel all the time. They try to keep buffing his OD fireball, making people want to use that, but it's like you're using more meter again. And they try to buff his overhead when nobody uses it. Fundamentally, he's still good. That's why I have him in the middle. But what's holding him back is his damage from being at the top, bro. Like, look at Luke's damage compared to like Ryu, bro. It's like night and day, man. And his fireballs, he can't get as much oomph as like someone like Akuma, Ryu, or Ken. His fireballs still have like a weird perfect parry weakness compared to the other Shotos. And Terry's fireballs are kind of weird too, right? Because they kind of go on the ground, little perfect parry weaknesses. But I think Luke's just a little bit more rougher than Terry because Terry keeps getting some good buffs, whereas Luke is getting, you know, some cookie crumbs. They're just being really careful with Luke. I guess it makes sense after the whole Street Fighter 5 situation and where he started with Street Fighter 6. Oh, this next character, perfect. Okay, I was waiting for this. All right, here we go, guys. Notice how I haven't talked about Elena yet. You know, the newest character in Street Fighter 6. You might have noticed she hasn't appeared in any single tournament. This character is just completely unknown to the point where you think she's like banned or something. Yeah, Elena. Oh my god. Okay, so before you guys grab your pitchforks, chill out for a second, okay? I played a ton of Elena, and I think she's a sick character. I really like that Capcom wanted to make her different and non-meta compared to all these other characters. Not relying on the fireball drive rush, not relying on just being a throw loop character, not having crouching medium kick, drive rush cancel and all that. However, that obviously was a detriment for the character as well. Because she's not meta, it kind of hurts her. To the point where like, man, I feel like no one's even giving her a chance. I think she has some of the best buttons in the game, like medium punch, forward heavy punch, standing heavy punch. I think these buttons are like incredible. If you're like a monster at hit confirming, I think you can take Elena really far, but she has some like really big weaknesses right now. Her crouching medium kick, oh my god, is rough. -4 on block, it's punch one block, drive rush into it, and you're 0. The crouching medium kick target combo whiffing on crouchers, man, she has like some serious issues against players walking back on her, you know? She has to rely on that slide. Her corner game is not as strong. She doesn't have good sticking power. You gotta use a lot of her sway, but since she doesn't have a fireball, of course, you're using a lot of like forward heavy kick. The corner game is just weaker than a lot of characters. And then when she's in the corner, she has like this weird dead zone because she doesn't have that crouching medium kick drive rush and it's slow 9 frames, and that crouching medium punch standing medium punch is 8 frames. She just got to rely on that standing light kick. She does have a reversal, yes, but even after you use your reversal with Elena, it still feels like you're trapped in that corner. Her level 1 utility is not as good as it should be for a level 1 that's not invincible, and her mix-up game has just as many counters as there are ways to open the opponent up, where people are like accidentally countering you, because her mix-up game is like very, very reserved at +1. I'm definitely going to talk more about Elena because I want to do a wishlist video about her, really going over her weaknesses. But I think it's very obvious right now that she's not. Capcom still needs to figure out how to fit her in this game. But here's another thing too. Even though I have Elena pretty low in B, I think Elena is very, very easy to fix. I think she only needs one single buff, and that will shoot her way up. she'll be in a fantastic spot. She is nowhere near the state of like where Ryu used to be, or Marisa or Honda, or like Lily or something like that. Nowhere near, man. She's easily fixable. I wouldn't worry too much. And in fact, I think she's gonna get emergency buff on August 5th when Sagat comes out. Like I said, I have a lot to talk about with Elena, and I'll follow this video up with a wish list video on her going over it. But right now, I'm gonna put her in B, and I think that's a pretty safe spot right now because she is just like one of the most unused characters in the game right now in the CPT circuit. So guys, I only have 3 characters in C+. Who's gonna join Marisa and Honda? Who will join the ranks of bottom 3? Could it be Jamie? Maybe it's Jamie. Nah, jump scare, it's Lily. Bro, come on, guys. Do I even need to explain Lily right now? This character has like remained the same since like the games come out. And this character is one of the most linear one-note characters in the game. And pretty much every pro player has like completely figured out her game plan. She's like crouching heavy punch, OD, Wind, Condor, Spire, the character. And everyone just like knows exactly how this character plays. There's no sauce, nothing to hide. Yes, they improved her mix-up game a little bit where now those lights can actually convert into stuff, but the damage output is still really low. They buffed her forward heavy punch, but it's just nothing that's like keeping her alive in the tier list. Other characters are getting better buffs than her that are moving them up or keeping them afloat, whereas Lily is just like they're barely giving her everything, and she was already such a basic character to begin with, to the point now where she's just finally reached the bottom. Yeah, she's a super easy, you know, beginner character. You know, pro players can play her at her absolute maximum, but where her absolute maximum is, dude, she has so many weaknesses. So many weaknesses. The system mechanics counter her, bro. The dry reversal alone and perfect parry counter her so hard. Like, you can still win with Lily. You can't. Like, it's finally caught up with her now, you know, where Capcom wants to keep her as a very basic character. Like I said, the thing is that the one way that they can bring Lily back, and I know this is tough for a lot of players to hear, but they have to nerf her OD Condor Spire. That's the only way. It's still one of the most powerful moves in the game. It's basically a better version of Dry Rush, and only until they nerf that move can they buff everything else. That's the only way she's gonna move up. But if they keep that move the same, then they have to keep her mix-up weak. That's just how it is, man. They can't do anything with her. They can't give her like reversals or anything until that move is taken care of. That's the only way she can fly. I don't know what's going on with Lily, man. She had this storyline that was supposed to continue in World Tour that I was waiting to hear when Elena came out, and they didn't even mention her. They didn't even mention Lily. She's supposed to talk to Elena. They both talk to the wind spirits. I don't know what's going on. It's like they forgot about her, man. Poor Lily. Jeez. Are we back at the top? Yeah, we're back at the top. Okay, this character mysteriously disappeared for a while, to the point where some people thought, man, I think this character's not as strong as before. But no, at Blink, I am still very certain that Rashid is top 5. Rashid is definitely still up there. I see you, Rashid. I haven't forgotten about you like other players have. Yes, they nerfed his corner game, but his level 2 is still absurd. This character can do his level 2, accidentally get thrown himself, and then kick the level 2 at you and still open you up and do like 30-40% damage and put your ass in burnout and then throw loop you to death. They nerfed his throw, but he still has them. He doesn't have his meaty overhead, but he still has like the best overhead in the game, which he can still use. It's just not perfectly timed meaty in the corner when he throws you. He still has a meaty fireball, but it's not like the insane meaty fireball he has. So his corner game is just like slightly weaker, but his corner game is still very, very strong. He got hurt a little bit. A lot of the top tiers did get hurt a little bit, but Rashid's level 2 is still like one of the strongest supers in the game. It still gets such insane value. What's gonna move Rashid down right now is just there are certain things with like Chun-Li moving up is a little scary for Rashid players, because from her level 2, Bison's OD Crusher, for example, and Cammy still giving Rashid problems. There's certain things Rashid players have to look out for. I still have them at the top. Dual Kevin, Gachi-kun, Big Bird, Rashid is still definitely up there. We still have Rashid players round start using their level 2, just like a round start. Like, it's crazy. His level 2 is just so reliable. Like I said, even if the worst thing goes wrong where Rashid gets thrown, he still gets value off that level 2. Even if they tech your throw twice, he still gets to put you in the corner. Moving down to A+, another character that I'm seeing a code red emergency, but I'm not falling for it again. I'm going to be really careful about this one. I'm putting Ken slightly behind Ryu right now. There are a lot of Ken players jumping ship. I am well aware. I see the dooming, but I'm going to stand my ground. And I'm not putting this character any lower than top 10 until I am 100% positive. They nerfed Jinrai kicks, but Jinrai kicks is still crazy because of the perfect parry changes. They nerfed his corner game, but this character can still put you into a corner off a jab. He still has one of the best values off perfect parry. He still has fireball drive rush. Ken is still very, very strong, and drive rush jab is still very, very good with him. I think with all the buffs to Ryu finally pulls ahead, but I still have Ken way, way up there. Ken's on standby right now. I'm just putting him in A+ to keep it very safe until I see where all the Ken players jump ship and gravitate towards. Because right now, a lot of Ken players are looking at Akuma and looking at Ryu right now. Guys, over the years, the Ken propaganda, man. They somehow successfully convinced Capcom to nerf poor Luke to the ground and keep poor Ken, the same, you know? And it's crazy now. He's a character where I remember at the beginning of season 2, I thought he was untouchable. Absolutely untouchable. He'll always remain a super cracked tournament character. But now, finally, we're starting to see the nerfs catch up with Ken. The level 1 O-key, the reversal O-key, the corner game. Twice they nerfed his corner game. You're starting to see it where Ken players are starting to get a little scared. So yeah, I'm gonna throw Aki up here. I think Aki's pretty strong, man. They keep giving her new conversions, more anti-air options like core circle forward medium punch. She still has great corner carry. She still drive rush the character. She's got some really good Unga. OD Cruel Fate, you just throw it out, get a lot of value off of it, force the opponent to do drive reversal. And even then it's scary because she can cancel into her level 3. Still one of the best burnout characters. They tried nerfing her burnout strings, but they still remain one of the strongest. Good corner carry, good corner damage. Aki's still in a pretty good spot, man. Uses the system mechanics really well. Force a lot of plus frames on you. Her zoning has some holes in it compared to like the other zoners. She keeps getting good buffs. Fireball drive rush game is still one of the best. The crouch medium kick plus frames, the forward heavy kick plus frames, good overhead. She's in a good spot, man. This one, I had a really hard time figuring out where I wanted to put this character. This probably might cause some controversy. This is the last character I'm going to put in B+. I'm going to throw Blanka in here. I wanted to put Blanka higher, but there is like only one Blanka player right now, and that's Menardi. And I'm really happy that he's like dedicated himself to the character. Blanka has some really underrated buttons. Defensively, he does good because of the air up ball. But I feel like what's holding this character back is he's a little too reliant on that level 2 and mixing up with the Blanka-chan dolls in the corner that it kind of suffers a little bit with it. I think that's what's holding this character back. You're not getting automatic value from it, like characters like JP or Rashid or Ed, for example. Blanka is really good, but it's like if things go wrong for Blanka, it's bad. Whereas like things go wrong for Rashid, you know, you kick the level 2 back at them and it's going good. So I think that's the problem. Like Menardi is doing really well with him though. Really good with Blanka, and he has some like uniquely decent matchups, like against like Cammy, for example. He's got some sauce. They did kind of nerf a lot of things that made him good before, but there were small nerfs. They're still intact. It's just that the buffs he got weren't incredible. They basically made it so his command grab can be comboed into, and that gives him more Blanka-chan doll setups. He's hanging in there. He's like in the middle. I only have one more character to throw in B, and I'm happy to throw this character in B because I think he's moving up. I'm gonna throw Jamie in there. Now you guys might be like, man, Jamie got some really good buffs, and he did. That's why I'm moving him up, man. I'm really happy about where Jamie is going right now. Multiple tier lists. I put Jamie as like the worst character in the game, dude. He was in such a rough spot. Now Capcom has buffed the way he gets drinks considerably. The forward throw buff on the drinks was great, and then the buffs they did for Jamie this patch I think were perfect because Capcom is paying attention to ways to buff him when he doesn't have drinks, buffing up his standing medium punch, going to crouching medium punch. Mid-range game is a lot better, you know, buffing up his normals, buffing up his DP. That's great. You can see Jamie players are consistently getting drinks now, you know, buffing up his level 2, so if he needs like an emergency super, if he doesn't have drinks, he's actually getting more consistent, and that's why I'm pulling him ahead of these characters because he's just getting much more buffs than these bottom 3 characters. Jamie is moving up. We saw Blaz doing really well with him. He got a World Warrior dub with Jamie, which is nice. And it looks like Blaz has actually used him in Blink during the major, but he's still a very risky double-edged sword character. So I think the next thing they can buff with Jamie is making it so that he gets a really big power spike at 4 drinks. I think the power spike is not enough. If they can figure out a way to balance that with his level 2, I'm happy to put Jamie finally one more tier because like I said, he's got a very unique weakness in this game. Getting his drinks is more reliable, and he's can hold his own better with 0 drinks. He still has that 10% damage nerf on round start, which is pretty rough, but he could snowball easier and faster now, which is great. All right, guys, my last character I'm gonna put up in S tier. I'm gonna throw Bison up here, bro. I was debating between JP and Bison. I was thinking of putting JP up in the top 5, but no, I'm gonna throw Bison here because Bison got buffed this season, bro. No matter what those patch notes say, that Psycho Crusher buff was crazy, bro. Bison's damage output actually got higher. And another thing too, man, the things they nerfed with Bison, with his Psycho Mine, they nerfed his Oki on his light and medium Psycho Mine, and Bison players are like, okay, well, so we just won't use them. Right? Like, they buffed his OD Psycho Mine, and if he lands a crouch immune kick drive rush, he combos into the heavy mine anyways. So he basically just keeps the buffs. He basically is just Bison with better Psycho Crushers. And in the corner, you can use the light Psycho Mines and it's fine. He still gets Oki, right? This character almost has no business being as powerful for how easy he is. You know, like he kind of breaks the rules in that aspect when you look at characters like Marisa, Honda, and Lily, and you look at Bison's power level. It's crazy, bro. CPT World Warrior China, man. Oh my God, guys. Imagine an entire top 8 of just Mai and Bison. And Bison got the dub too. The thing about Bison is he can hang with the best characters in the game. That OD Crusher is the best move in the entire game. He can get around those fans, those air fireballs, you know, Luke's pressure. He can go right through Rashid's level 2. This character breaks the rules, right? Oh yeah, your buttons go full screen? Sorry, knee press just straight up beats buttons. Have you guys tried playing Elena versus Bison? Your buttons go half screen, but knee press just beats everything because it's a special. He's super good, and as a pocket character, he's even more powerful. Because of his ease of use, any pro player can just have a pocket Bison on the side and just use him when they need him and focus all their attention to their main. So because of that, I'm gonna put Bison in top 5 for sure. I know a lot of people are gonna bring up Vesper. Yeah, Bison's really strong, but he has a really big weakness that these other characters don't, right? And that is the fact that he doesn't have a reversal. So how could he be top 5? I was thinking about this for a long time because after playing Elena, even though she has a reversal, I noticed that she's just still considerably weak when she's in the corner. And I was thinking about, man, what about Bison? The thing with Bison is even though he doesn't have a reversal, his buttons are so strong, and his OD knee press and just doing knee press in general helps him get out or prevent himself from getting in the corner. It's just really hard to deal with, where if you give Bison an inch and he gets even a little bit of space, he can get out of the corner a lot easier than a lot of characters can. For example, if you tech a throw with all that space, now you're going toe to toe with Bison with his standing heavy punch, his standing medium kick, his crouching medium kick, his crouching medium punch. All these are godlike buttons. All of the throw loop nerfs to Ken, throw loop nerfs to Rashid, to Ed, all these big nerfs to these characters for their throw loops gives Bison that extra space to do. Just watch Bison, guys, when you're watching these tournament matches. Watch when Bison's in the corner. As soon as he gets a little bit of space, he goes knee press, OD knee press. Players are trying to anti-air him. He's flying past them. They're whiffing. It's hard. It's hard to keep him in that corner. It is hard. And if he gets a perfect parry back throw, oh my God, dude, right? Or if he gets a tech throw, you give him an inch, this character is getting out. And you still got your level 1 as a reversal anyways with Bison. So that's pretty much my argument of why I have Bison up so high, despite he has like a really big weakness with it. Last A+ character, I'm gonna throw Guile in here. I think this is a safe spot to put Guile. Another one of those characters where he started off very strong, even since the beta test of this game, and Capcom has kept him. He's in the perfect spot. He has some weaknesses, he has some trouble matchups, even against like Marisa or JP, that keep him under control as he has been around the years, but he's still very, very solid. Doesn't have to deal with drive rush as much as other characters. Has good chip with his level 2, good damage, still one of the best reversals in the game. Fireball drive rush, one of the kings of fireball drive rush. To get around a good Guile, you have to be really good at perfect pairing. They haven't nerfed anything significant with him. The biggest nerf he's gotten is his side switching. So that's why I have him kind of like at the bottom of these 2 tiers, but he's still way up there. He's still in a very consistent spot. What about Dee Jay, hey? The last character I haven't moved, I'm gonna throw him in A. I think Dee Jay is a little bit above average. With Fudo, there's Fudo, there's Zen, and there's Shen, right? Holding the fort with Dee Jay. But what keeps Dee Jay alive, and they are buffing him a little bit. His level 1 buffs are great. They're helping his conversions a little bit more. His damage is still not nearly where it used to be. But the utility of his level 2, the utility of his level 1, the fact that he still has one of the strongest drive rushes in the game keeps him relevant. I think the drive rush jab on Dee Jay, it is just so difficult to stop. It's so difficult. Between the sways, and the drive rush pressure and all that. The one thing holding DJ back from going back to like A+ or higher is his damage output. Better than mid tier. Just because of his drive rush speed alone and the built-in sway. Another thing too is like Capcom nerfed a lot of the crouching medium kick drive rush jabs, but DJ is just immune to that because he has sway. So he's gonna shimmy you no matter what, man. Whenever he drive rushes at you and he gets in, there's always the threat of getting blown up and losing like a third of your health from a shimmy. And he still has fireballs. He still has like a flash kick. He still has a good corner game where he can chip you down with the OD air slashers, and he has one of the biggest frame advantages after a forward throw in the corner where he can do anything, set you up. So yeah, it's not as crazy a corner game as like these characters, but it's still a good corner game, man. DJ has been slowly, you know, catching up. Like I really like, especially like the changes to his level 1. I feel like it's cool seeing DJ players use all of his supers because level 1, 2, and 3, they all have great uses, and that's good for a character that doesn't have invincible level 1. I think they got the utility of DJ in a good spot. And his level 2 does have some threat, right? Rashid players have to watch out for that level 2. A lot of the zoners have to watch out. DJ's level 2 is really good, and it's got side switch ability too. And DJ will never be kept out. He always has. He's got decent comeback factor because of the sway, and the drive rush jab is just really oppressive. I don't think he's mid tier. All right, chat. So what do you guys think about this tier list? Let me summarize it a little bit. I think this is my top 5 in the game right now. Akuma, Mai, Ed, Rashid, and Bison. I'm basing the strength mostly on corner games. Akuma and Mai have like the strongest corner games in Street Fighter 6. Rashid and Bison's corner games are still very strong. Rashid puts you in the corner with level 2. Bison, just absolutely insane Oki in this game where he puts the Psycho Mine on you. You're in so much trouble to do a reversal. It's so scary. And then he just mauls you in the corner. I think these characters all have really strong tools. The level 2, Ed's level 2, Mai's level 1, you know, Akuma's just Akuma. Like all these characters have, I would say, a slight edge over these characters in A+. Doesn't matter what the order is. I think Akuma and Mai are definitely my top 2, whereas top 3 is a little debatable, right? I don't really know, but I am putting this in order off the recent events. So this is my top 10. JP, like I said, I can see argument putting JP over Bison or Rashid, for example, or Ed in top 5. If you mentioned that, I can agree with you. I think JP is definitely at the top. I just feel like I really don't feel like JP has as good matchups as these characters do. I still think he has problems against characters that can close the gap quickly, like Kimberly and Cammy. And because of his amnesia as a unique weakness, he gets mauled by like Akuma and Mai on his amnesia. You know, these characters they have so many fireballs, like Rashid too. You know, Bison can close the gap so much on JP. JP is a character where you have to play like perfectly. You know, you really got to use those system mechanics. So that's why I don't want to put him in top 5 right now. But I'm putting him right at the edge, like at top 6. So I still think he's really strong. Cammy, just really solid character still. Fundamentally, just really strong. Insane corner carry. Ryu, just buffed to oblivion. Like I said, he's buffed so hard, I don't even know what they can even do anymore. Ken, we're going to wait and see where he's at. And Guile. So I think these characters are all really solid. Top 10. Some of these characters, you have to use the system mechanics more, but if you're really good at perfect parry, I think these characters are really good. All really good tournament characters right now. And then A, these characters, like I said, are slightly above average. Zangief, I still want to see these hurt box changes to him and see how Zangief players perform. And Chun-Li, I want to move up. I really do, but I want to see more for season 3 changes being used. Kimberly definitely got a big jump. Aki, like I said, still remains to be strong. And then DJ is moving up as well. Mid tier, I have Juri, Terry, Luke, Blanka. Like I said, these characters are good, but they have definitely more weaknesses than the characters above them do. Here we have B tier. Like I said, these characters, they have some really large weaknesses, but they're not the worst. And these characters, all 4 of these characters, if slightly buffed, can skyrocket. If they buff Manon's way to deal with zoners, she's gonna skyrocket. If they give Dhalsim any more defensive options or more damage, he's gonna skyrocket. Elena, like I said, we're gonna get into, they gotta buff her crouching medium kick, bro. Jamie as well. Like I said, if they make him any more consistent, he's gonna skyrocket. These characters, like I said, still have some of the largest weaknesses in the game. Marisa's doing better than Honda and Lily, I think. That's why I have her like at the top of C+. But once again, guys, this tier list was really hard for me to make because I really do feel like this is really condensed, guys. Like I feel like every character has a potential to win a major, even Lily, and every character is performing well. The character variety we have is absolutely insane. It's so good. The game is so balanced, man. We're seeing upsets left and right. It's just like tournament wise this season, especially with the CPT point system, we've been watching some of the best tournaments we have in this game. It's just phenomenal, bro. We'll see how my opinion changes after Evo. Do you guys want to do a prediction for Sagat? You guys want to do a bonus prediction? Where do you guys want to put Sagat if you guys were to guess? After the 3-day honeymoon phase and after the mid-month dooming phase, where do you guys want to bet to put this character? And then we'll talk about the next tier list. A+. Oh, I want to put him in A+, guys. Put him here. Ooh, put him beside Ken and Ryu. I hope so, guys. He deserves it, man. With all the suffering he had at the end of Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5, I think he'll be stronger than Luke and Terry on launch. I think he will. Let me know what you guys think about this tier list. Vesper, what's with your insane takes? Like, let me know the characters you guys like heavily disagree on or you guys really agree on, and then I can check out the comments to see where you guys' heads at. Feel free to post your reasons, give me something to consider, and then we'll come back to this after Evo, because Evo is going to give us a lot of information, and as we get closer to the EWC, it's going to give us a ton of information. But I really want to hear you guys' feedback. Tier list videos are really fun to do. Just that this one in particular, I feel is really hard. I feel like every character is so close that, you know, it's going to be hard to really narrow it down and fully agree with it, but I think this is where my head's at right now.